Technology being all over, there are 101 apps that people use for different purposes. I want to talk about a translator app, and specifically Microsoft Translator. Not a popular one because Microsoft doesn't kind of push this in your face, but you know, there's a lot of other translator apps. There's Google Translate, there's tons of others that people tend to use, but I'm sharing this one because I think it's very powerful. Tested the others. This one seems to work just to the point. So they have a desktop version. So if you go to the browser, you can go to translator.microsoft.com and you can start a meeting here, or I prefer working off the mobile device, Android or an Apple device. You can load it from the respective stores. And let me just show it to you here. This is the Android one. You install it, it comes over as a translator like this, and open the device. This is what you have. It's relatively simple in the icons that you are seeing, but it's got a lot of complexity under the hood. So I think there's a few things that I just want to share with you that you probably need to be aware of. These three dots on top here. If you click on that, you have offline languages, which is if you want to use this application and not be connected to the internet, you can download a lot of the languages and then it operates on the local device. Of course, if you are working with other people and their device also, you've got to just work that out as to the specific languages that you need to have downloaded. For example, if you're working with somebody that speaks Italian, you should have your English and Italian libraries downloaded. So if I click here on offline languages, you'll see there's a few that I've downloaded already. And then it says all these are the others that I haven't downloaded. You don't have to have it downloaded onto your device if you have an internet connection. Okay. The other thing that I think is significant is the settings. So if you go to settings, there's the privacy that you have here, whether you want to share your information with Microsoft. I think they're giving us such an incredible tool that, you know, it's worth sharing the voice samples or whatever they need from that. And yes, they might be using what you're saying. I don't know, but that's just my choice. It's up to you to decide whether you want to use that. The key thing that I want to just highlight here is the speaker translation. This thing says autoplay translated speech. So if you are typing in and it's translating to another language, it will show it on the screen and also have the text-to-speech conversion. So you'll hear it there if you have this box checked. If you are talking in and it takes your voice, it will show you your statement you made in text, and it will convert it to the language of choice and also give an audio feedback with it. If you disable this, then you don't hear the text-to-speech, the audio coming on the other side for the translation. You'll just see the text transcribed. So I leave that on. The other stuff you can, in your own time, have a look through that. So bottom area here, these are just common phrases that people might use. So for example, if I click here, you'll see by default I've got this here on English and Italian. And one of the reasons I'm doing this tutorial is we were at a wedding where the couple, one was English speaking, the other one was Italian, and their whole family was there. Some could speak both languages, but a few couldn't, and this tool really works well in that situation. So these are common things. For example, if you're traveling, you're familiar with the language and you're just needing to know how to say it and so forth, you can click on these. And for example, if you're asking where's the airport, you click on where's the airport. It will give it in the language you've chosen at the bottom, which is Italian. And then you could tap onto the speaker and hear it sort of say the words there. Okay, so let's go back onto this here. So this is the key areas that I just want to look at the moment. The keyboard is where you're physically going to be typing. Now, most of us type onto the mobile device, so that might not be a tall order. So let's just open that and I'll come and explain the rest as we go on. So I am busy mirroring my device across onto the screen here. So some of the screens might sort of pop up and cover the others, but in this case here we have a prompt here that's asking for text input, and it's going to convert from English to Afrikaans. The reason I'm doing it from English to Afrikaans is because I speak Afrikaans and I can see whether the thing is doing it correctly for this particular purpose. So if I'm tapping here because I'm screen sharing, I probably have to come down here and click this screen. Let me just put this screen share button, and I'm going to use my Google keyboard. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to ask in English, what is your name? And it should say, wat is jou naam in Afrikaans. Okay. Let me just, what? Remember, we are typing it in now. We're not using the microphone in this particular feature. So there it says, wat is jou naam? And that's what's your name. So if you were sitting with somebody and you wanted to just type in and let them see what you're asking, it would be easy to do it this way. But again, I'll show you other ways that are much better, that you can interact with people and they can talk and you can talk, and it works a bit more dynamically. This one is for typing in. Again, if you find that you want to get that text deleted, there's a little X on top there that you'll delete, and you can say, I am going home. Ek gaan huis toe. Okay, so that is totally correct. Here, these are 4 icons which you can experiment with. That is to hear it in the actual words being spoken. This is to share this text. And this is if you want to pin it to the top. But here you can just see, because I'm working on the mobile device, it says English to Afrikaans. If I click the middle button, it will switch, put Afrikaans on the left. You'll see there. And it makes the Afrikaans be the one you're typing in, and the English will be over here. Okay, so I'm going to go on now. This is the basic starting point. Let's just go on further with this. So as you see here, this is the typing that we are working with. So if I click there, it pulls up again the typing area. So I want to go back now. I'm going to go back to the main menu. This one is if you have a sign and you want to translate that sign, you can just take the camera and point it towards the sign. It will give you the translation. Or if you have a document that you want to translate, usually it's just a heading or title. You're not going to do massive documents that you'll use, desktop applications for probably. So the one I'm going to focus on is this one on top here, and also talk about the power of this one where you have 2 people in, because this is where Microsoft excels far above most other applications. It is designed around a sort of setup where you have a convention, you have a class lecture where people are talking. There's one lecturer, we'll call him the host, and there's multiple guests, and the multiple guests could be speaking multiple languages. So this one here on the right will explain that. So let me just go to the one that you most likely will use most of the time, is this microphone here. So if we click that, to understand, there's these 3 options that you have here. You can see English here, Italian here, and if I click this switch button, it will go Italian and English. Now whatever's on the left here will be your one that you are inputting. So if I flip back there, for me it will be English. So this is single. This is if I am just talking and the person's going to look and the person's not going to respond, automatically. I can talk, they'll see the Italian come up here, and then when they want to talk, I'll have to click this button and they'll speak the Italian. So there's a manual process here using the single. The auto and split solves that problem, but let's just go through this for now. So single, here will be the talking part of it. So I've got to talk into the microphone of the phone itself. And if you are working, like you see in the background, if you're working on a computer, you'll be talking into the microphone of the computer itself. Okay, so I'm going to just say, I'm walking down the street this afternoon. First you click the mic and then you can talk. I am walking down the street this afternoon. Okay, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but the thing, because we have that switch on for audio, it actually shows us the translation here, and it actually speaks the translation in this case in Italian. Here you see I am walking down the street this afternoon. Once again, folk, I think that this program does it exceptionally well to hear what you are saying. We were using it in an environment where there was a wedding, a lot of background noise, and you could hardly hear each other. But the folk were just picking the phone up to their mouth and speaking loud enough for the system to hear it. And it was able to go literally 99% clarity, get the message the first time correct. Okay, so if the person wants to speak Italian back now, they would have to flip this back. Okay, so you can tap this and talk, and when you stop talking, the mic will switch off automatically, or you could just tap the mic again and it will then stop if you know that you are finishing with or finished your sentence. The auto button here is quite interesting in that now it shows you the Italian on top and the English. So the English is the main one here and the Italian is on top. Now it's both showing this way. So if the two of you are sitting together, this would be the format you have. If you're sitting at a table and the phone is in between you on the table, you're sitting opposite each other, you could click this button and it would flip the translation in the other direction. So the person, you could be sitting opposite each other comfortably. In the case we used it now at the wedding, the people were sitting together and talking, so you'd flip it this way. Here you'd click the mic again and it will stay on all the time. It will detect who's speaking English and it will detect who's speaking Italian. Automatically it will do that, and it does it very well. Only challenge with this is that you've got to be disciplined in that once you click it, it's live all the time. It doesn't switch off the mic. Once you talk, you say your piece, then you pause and the translation happens. The other person will speak and they will pause and the translation happens. You have to get that rhythm going between the two of you, because if one wants to interject while the other one's talking, you are going to, confuse the piece of software, because it's not knowing if the person wants to say something in between and so forth. So yeah, I think this would be in a very sort of controlled, disciplined environment. The best one I would suggest to is the split one. So with the split, you pretty much tap the mic and you speak. And when you're done speaking here, you kind of have to think about what you want to say and not tap the mic and then pause for 5 seconds thinking about what you want to say, because then it interprets that you have done with your speaking and it automatically will switch itself off. So when you tap, you start speaking, and it's good to speak in little small snippets, because if you speak and you give a whole long piece, it might scroll off the screen and the person will have to scroll to see what's happening. So keep it in little, sort of short little spurts, and it works much better in communicating when you're talking to somebody in a foreign language. So I'm going to do it now, where I'm going to tap this and just speak with the person, and I'm going to say, "Hi, it's Rory here. It's fantastic to meet you this evening. And what is your name?"
Ciao, sono Rory. È fantastico incontrarvi questa sera. E come ti chiami?
Okay, if you notice that when I was finished talking, the mic switches off, it shows the translation, and it starts the audio playing back that translation over there. Again, reminder, it's because we switched it on with the 3 dots right at the start. Now, if the person wants to respond, they would click in the translated section here. In this case, it's Italian. They would click the button here and then speak in Italian. Now, I do not speak Italian, so I'm going to just say, "Ciao, sono Rory." I think it is "Ciao, sono Rory." I'm not going to say the rest there. It should say, "Hi, it's Rory," or something on that level. Let's see. "Ciao, sono Rory."
Hi, I'm Aurora.
Okay, it's like, I'm Aurora. That was my best attempt at that. Just notice also that when you speak over here, the other mic, the other input mic automatically will show a mute. It will switch off while you're talking with the one translation. Whereas with the auto, they stay on at both, but it's in the same icon usually. So let's do this. Just look at this one, you're muting itself. This is just to show you that when I'm speaking, it's going to mute itself there. Now, I'm going to be keeping on speaking just to prove the point that if you have a long conversation, the text is going to scroll down and the person will have to scroll.
Solo per mostrarti che quando parlo si disattiva da solo. Lì. Ora continuerò a parlare solo per dimostrare il punto che se hai una lunga conversazione.
That is very interesting. Actually, it's very interesting that it's kind of paused to pronounce the things. Again, yeah, I think it's pertinent just to give you one or two sentences, keep it basic in the communication. Okay, let's just do that again, and I'm going to keep on talking even though it starts to talk over me. I just want to see whether it will keep on recording what I'm saying. So I'm going to be speaking now and have a bit of a long context to what I'm saying, and we will see how this thing, whether it will switch itself off, whether it will stay on, whether it will stay green even though I'm speaking quite a lot, whether it will continue to
Quindi parlerò
carry
in un
on.
contesto un po' lungo su quello che sto dicendo. E vedremo come questa cosa, se si spegnerà da sola, se rimarrà accesa, se rimarrà verde anche se sto parlando.
Okay, I think it automatically stops after like you've exceeded like, 2 paragraphs, because then it makes it difficult for the person to scroll to read. Then it's not fulfilling its purpose in that way. But I think it's brilliant to do basically everything that you need in that space. So I'm going to just show you the last one, is this particular one. And this is where this background thing works brilliantly also. So let's go to this side. So there's 2 sections over here. The one is if you're going to start the conversation. So this means you are the host. You are going to be creating the talking, the main talking, and your audience, your guests are going to be listening. They can communicate with you also. It also gives them the feature to do that. But you are the host in this. If somebody else is doing it on their phone or even starts up the conversation as the host on a computer, there will be a URL that's given, which is something, if I remember correctly, it will be like translate.it and a / and a code that is given. So that will be on the browser that they would type in there, and then they would connect like one of the guests. If you are using your phone, you click on the camera here and just take the snap of the QR code that the host has given you, and you can click join, or you could just type in the code that they give you. But in this case here, we are going to say on the phone here, this person is going to be the person to be the host. So you click start, and it says, okay, Rory, here's key here. You see that this is your language that you're speaking in. Now, if you are joining an existing communication, say you on the receiving side, in this case, Rory is going to be the host. If you are sitting and you're going to be linking up with a QR code or the link, then you've got to choose what your language is. So you've got to choose it. Let's say, in example, we're using Italian. So when Rory speaks in English, it will be translated into Italian on your device. If you type back, you'll type in Italian, Rory will see it in English on his device. Or if you talk back on your device, Rory will see it in English on his device. So if I click enter, you're going to see now it's going to generate a QR code and a link here. Now I'm not adding another phone to this. I'm going to just use this particular setup. So here we have translated YIRXP. Okay, so we're going to take this here. We're going to go and say translate.it / let me just make sure what we have here. Oh, it's translate IT YIRXP. We go YIRXP. Okay, so that's the link that you'd get maybe via email or via your mobile device. Here you have it here now. Now I'm going to say my name is John, and here I've got to choose what my translation is. Now, just to make it sort of unique, we're not going to choose Italian now. We'll choose traditional Chinese, or the region Taiwan, or let's say we're going to be People's Republic of China. Now I'm going to join the conversation. Okay, I'm going to see if I can make the screen a bit smaller, and here's my phone. So on my phone it says John has joined. So when I speak here now, I'm going to speak on the phone, and you should see it come up in English and the translation into the Chinese. Okay, let's see. Hi there to all the people in the classroom. I would like to welcome you. It's been a great day, and I hope that you all are enjoying the lecture. So I'm going to just stop it there so that what I'm speaking to you now is not going to be transmitted across. Okay, so let's see. John has joined us. You're the host. Let's see if anything has come across here. Am I missing something? Let's go back. Okay, let's enter this again. I'm going to just say Peter, the code is YIR XP, and I'm going to just say this is Paul, and we're going to keep the rest. Join the conversation. Okay, so hello Paul, can you hear me? Okay, there it comes through now. I think I might have typed in something incorrectly, but this is now as I'm talking to Paul. Everything that's been spoken here is being converted into Chinese, and Paul has the option of typing back here, or if he has his microphone, he can enable his microphone and speak back. So I'm going to just copy this section and paste it back, and we'll see how that will come back to us. Okay, so let me take this and just copy this, press it here, paste. Now we're going to look here on the right on my phone, and if anyone else is on the call, they'll be seeing it in their specific language. So if you press send, there it comes through. It just says everything that is said here is translated into Chinese, and Paul can choose to type here. Okay. So I as the host here in this particular section can decide that I want to also type a message and maybe just say, thank you everybody, and then send it. And you see it will come through there, thank you everybody, in Chinese. I assume that is what it says there. But that's how it works. So the beauty of this is that you're sitting in a classroom or even a conference where there's a speaker up on stage. There are people that speak Portuguese, people that speak French, Swahili, whichever languages. And as the speaker's speaking, they are all listening to it in their own language. And here, as they're speaking, they can have it not only translate in the text, they can also have it so that the actual language comes, the voice comes through. You can see there's all other things that we have here. This is, as the host here, you can have it as presenter mode, and it says switch the microphone to always listening and mute all other participants. So everyone is muted, they can't talk, and your mic is always on, so you don't have to keep tapping when you're talking. Okay, and so sort of you're running a meeting. So with John here, you could go in and click onto John and remove John or mute John or whatever it is. So those people who are familiar with online meetings and that, this is kind of structured in that. This has usually been in action long before the online meeting setups were a format. But I think most people would be familiar with this. Okay, so here again, we can show the original text, and this is for the hosts section. Okay, so the host could set up theirs how they want to. With the specific guests, they can click there and also see their things. They could have the voices that are used. They can choose a different voice for the audio that they be hearing on this side here. Okay, so that is all possibilities that you have in the thing. So again, sometimes in certain situations it might be better that they just read the message as the person's talking off stage. So you're hearing the person talking live in the foreign language, but you're looking at your phone and you're seeing it come through here and you're focusing on that. Or you could just plug in your earphones, and as the person is speaking, you'll hear what they're saying, but they will carry on speaking to the next few sentences, and you might be lagging a little bit behind, but the program itself will keep detecting the new language and keep sending up the updated information through. So if you have earphones on, you'll just be hearing the message like a few seconds behind the actual speaker, because it has to get to you and be actually not the translation doesn't take long, but it's the audio has to play through. So if somebody says, "Good morning, how are you all feeling today?" and then he carries on talking, you have to listen to the translation saying, "Good morning, how are you carrying on today?" And by that time, they've carried on speaking already. So you as the guest will be hearing it slightly delayed, but it's not like a problem, because your audio source would be what you're listening to. And in the background, you'd be hearing the speaker speaking ahead. And most likely, if you have earphones on, it works best, because then you're not hearing two loud signals, one in your ear from your phone and one coming over the PA system. So the earphones does help when you're sitting with your phone listening to the translation. Okay, and yeah, that's about it. And when you're done here, you can exit. Just notice here that you can actually get a download of the transcript of the entire discussion that happened, which is very powerful, and it's got a time code to it. So the time code is not optimized for maybe a SRT. Let's just have a look. You can see it's put here. It says who the speaker is and the actual time here. But there are a lot of programs that would be able to expand this, because this is giving it to you in two languages at the same time. But there's a program here, this thing called SE, that I use routinely for all the transcriptions. It's called Bolton. Not Bolton, it's called Subtitle Edit. And it's open source. You can get it off GitHub. And this thing works brilliantly. It's got all the languages, all the formats that you can pull it in, etc. So that's something that you can use if you want to work with these transcriptions. Great stuff. So hopefully that helps you getting Microsoft Translate for your one-on-one discussions and also for the group interactions. Great stuff.